Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. RFK Refugees Podcast. Ted here. John here. John, how you doing, my friend? It's been a minute. It's been a couple weeks.
Did we not do one last week?
No, we didn't.
Man, it all feels like we just did one last week.
No, we didn't. We did not do one last week.
We took a pause. You're right. I remember now.
Yes.
I remember. There was a good reason to, because all of the news in the entire universe happened last week.
Yeah.
Or at least sort of the what will be our summers from a soccer perspective were a little bit sussed out. So that's good.
Yeah, that is good. I guess we'll start out by saying, number one, I hope wherever you're listening to us, if you're listening on the podcast when it comes out, you're listening on our live stream. I hope you're safe. I hope you are with loved ones. I hope everything's okay. I don't know, John. I've had some difficulty trying to focus on soccer, I guess, with sort of everything that's been going on. It's been hard. It's been difficult. I don't know if you felt the same, kind of with everything that's going on. It's been difficult to get it. And we'll get into talking about DC. We'll get into talking about the Spirit, but I don't think we can not talk about what's going on, because I mean it does relate to the soccer world. There's been a lot of statements from a lot of different players from a lot of different leagues about this. And I think it's certainly worth discussing on our show, at least on as much to get as much as we can. And obviously, I think, if you know John and I personally, you know our political leanings, and I think we've tried to keep that sort of to the side and maybe out of the show. But I don't think.
Sometimes we've done well at that, and sometimes we've not.
Yeah, sometimes.
The listeners will probably tell us that we've done an okay job at that.
We've done an okay job at that. But I think at this point, I don't think there's a side that you can take. That there isn't two sides to this argument right now. And what's going on in the United States right now, the protests we've seen, the police brutality that takes place against people of color, is something that is reprehensible in my mind and deserves to be addressed and criticized. And I don't think there is another side that you can be on the side of police brutality. And I think we've seen from the team, doing the I Can't Breathe and Black Lives Matter in the middle, was something that I thought was really nice and really incredible. And I hope we're going to see a change, because this is not something new. The systemic racism of police is not something new, and it's been around for forever. And you can, regardless whether you think it's true or not, it's true. And it exists. And this is coming from two people who are white and have incredible privilege. But I think it's worth addressing that, this is something that needs addressing from our country, needs addressing from our country's leaders. And we're not getting that right now. So I hope things change. I hope this is the moment maybe we look back on as when something changed and when things got better. I don't know. I'm cynical. I'm cynical.
I'm extremely cynical.
Yeah.
Ted. So from my perspective, like, a lot of this is, I think that it's two things at once. One, talking more about the response. In some ways, painting on the field, making a street called Black Lives Matter Avenue or whatever they decided to call it. I think that's great. Symbolism has some power, I think, and there's something to that for sure. If you told me 4 years ago or 6 years ago that would happen, I would say no. The Overton window from the concept of, like, this is a thing and a movement that matters and it makes sense to everybody, it was fast relatively compared to how long other things take. The speed at which corporate America got behind this, even if it's just words, but they adopted the language, they believed the general tenets of it, acknowledged the problem quickly. the global protests about this, which is interesting and awesome. But you know, all you have to do is really look at policymakers' response to this. So, I mean, there's already a bill on the table. One of the key things is no more chokeholds, which is like the bare minimum that anyone's asking for right now. I think after watching these videos and seeing just the body count pile up from this, I'm worried that once again people will be in front of their elected officials. They're going to be ahead of it. Usually they want to chase you down and catch up to you and give you what you want. But I feel like this is a complicated issue that requires challenging power structures in ways that our political system is not set up to do. This is if you look at the mayors in these cities, sometimes they'll be African American mayors. Sometimes they'll be Democrats. That's pretty usual actually for where these cities are popping off for the most part. But they're backing the police from the start, and that's the power structure, right? Like that's how things have gotten the way they are. We're not going to get into are there good cops or are there bad cops. We're not going to get into the deeper matter of it. But just suffices to say, like this is this is a sea change for this issue compared to where it's been in the past. Where will we go from here? What will actually be done? There's been a lot of symbolic moves by teams, by leagues, by players who are getting much more engaged in finding their voice. Bill Hamid, for instance, would be a really good example of a player that has really decided that he is going to use his position to talk about the issues that he cares about. That's great. It's good. I think that should be the case that you find. But the next step is the hard step, and I'm very cynical about our current political dynamics and sort of the two parties and the structures that exist to see actual change. But even if we don't see change that way, it's certainly the people are in the streets in ways that I don't think they'd be for anything else. There are issues that I wish they would be in the streets for that they would not. This is the one that's got cross class, cross race, cross all of those things. Everyone sees the challenge and the issues here. And honestly, the response to these protests are fueling these protests. Mm-hmm. It's a self-reinforcing situation. So if they're hoping that these are going to stop and peter out, they need to change the way that they're encountering these protesters, because it's just going to keep them out there unless you start, doing, as some people suggested, giving them no quarter and rolling out the military, which that's a whole other podcast. Anyway. I think we went pretty far down the line here, but just I think we're heartened. Speaking for both of us, I think we're heartened at the change in dialogue and tone we've seen from the team that we care about. The league could do a little bit more. I think they're trying as well as they maybe can be trying. But the real thing that matters is even after these protests stop, they will inevitably eventually stop. What happens next? What real steps are taken to address the system? It started off as talking about police brutality specifically, and it has fanned out to talk about all of the systemic imbalances and challenges that Black people face in this country, which I think is important to do this all at once. Don't waste your chance at unity that you have right now on one thing. It needs to be the whole thing, and I think it looks good, right? I think it might be happening that way.
Yeah, it's definitely been something I've been surprised at, sort of the corporate response, particularly. And now U.S. Soccer is apparently going to revisit the idea of standing for the national anthem, and I think this is looking like a sea change. Now it could all dissipate. It could very easily. It's dissipated before, but I think there's definitely. There haven't been the same talking points that we've seen develop, and even when they've tried to develop, they've been snuffed out in the general talking, and there's a lot to this, and I think it remains to be seen what's going to happen. I hope this is a sea change. I hope this is something new, and seeing the response from MLS, NASCAR, MLB, NFL has given me maybe a little bit more hope, and I want to be optimistic that things are going to start to changing it better, but it could very
NFL response, particularly chef's kiss of like stepping in it.
yeah
As far as
yeah
the rest, everyone's failed, but the NFL specifically, like they're really like, please do not remember the past for us. Do not remember the last couple years. Let's just start fresh. Everyone, please do not look beyond this curtain. Do not Google us.
Yeah, and there's it's and even U.S. soccer coming back on there. I mean, that's something I never thought I'd see, to be honest. I never thought I'd see U.S. soccer take a step back like they did and allow kneeling for the national. That's been a thing of huge controversy amongst a lot of even former players. So
one last thing too I wanted to make just before we move on or we close. Be on guard for the backlash to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come, and it's going to be really serious. I mean, just because we have some unity here does not mean the culture wars that have run without fail, without stopping for at least 20 years, 25 years are going to stop. Because if you read the New York Times opinion page this weekend, you'll know that there are some people in major positions of power that do not subscribe to this whole movement, and there are going to be a lot of people that are riding with that individual. So, and with others. So, don't get too not cocky, but don't assume that this is that the fight is actually over here. Even within the discussion and within sort of making your point, I think the moderates on both sides have really quickly come to this, and that's great. And you need them. Ask Bernie Sanders. Mm-hmm. You really need those folks to be on your side, or else you're not going anywhere. But there are other folks, and it's going to be a long-term fight and battle.
Yeah, I mean, I look in Richmond. Richmond recently announced they were taking down the statue of Robert E. Lee. If you don't know your history, Richmond is the capital of the Confederacy. It's where I live, and I love Richmond to death. But the way it's sort of honored that history, and they're removing those statues. They're making steps to remove those statues, which is great. But it's only one step. There's a lot wrong in Richmond. Systemically, between the schools system, the public school system, you see the disparities of race in Richmond. There's no question. So there's a lot that has to be fixed, and don't let one small victory be overblown as a big victory. And okay, we're done here, because that's what's been happening now for decades. And there needs to be wide scale change, and definitely look out for the backlash, and don't accept small acts as the job being done. There needs to be widespread acts to fix what's wrong in this country. So definitely donate to there. I put out a list. One of my friends over at the Richmond Kickers podcast put a list of Richmond organizations. I retweeted them. Check that out to donate to them. That's the River City 93 podcast. Elliot Barr, one of my good friends, runs that podcast, and he does an excellent job with that. So definitely check that out, and donate to some of those organizations that are really, those are the organizations that are going to be fighting once the public's eye is turned away. Those are the ones that are going to be making sure that this remains in the forefront. So they definitely need your support if you can give to them. So yeah.
Soccer.
And you brought up MLS sort of supporting, and Josie Altidore kind of had a tweet. There are a lot of hurt feelings between MLS and the players. In case you haven't heard, MLS is returning. I don't think they've set a date yet. They say June 24th, 25th. The long rumored Orlando tournament is going to take place. It is going to happen. It's going to be at the Disney Sports Complex. It feels weird. I really wish MLS, it's fine if MLS can do it safely and return. I've said this. That's fine. Can we stop kidding ourselves that we are going to have a season? Maybe I'm completely, just so cynical about, about COVID-19 and being able to be in fans. Maybe it's the fact I don't want the season back if I can't watch it live. Is there really a season if I can actually go to a game? League One is also talking about returning on July 18th, but it's fine if you want to do this tournament, as long as it's safe, as long as you can make guarantees, and as long as the players are okay with it. If the players aren't okay with it, I'm not okay with it. I don't think they're okay with it. I think they're accepting it, and they certainly want to get paid, but there are a lot of hurt feelings, and I would say this is probably, I know I said this last time and things got solved pretty quickly with the CBA, but this feels like this is something next year we're going to be talking about, a CBA lockout. There's a lot of hurt relations between the players and fans. The league did not come into this with the best intentions.
All right, I'm sorry. The CBA is now ratified.
Oh, it's ratified. Okay.
So they're now locked in through 2024. Let's see it might be to 2025. Either way, they've agreed to make sure that they go forward. The hurt feelings really were down to the lockout threat that happened after basically MLS inserted a force majeure clause into the contract that said that if 3 teams have a greater than 15% ticket reductions due to anything, the CBA is off and they don't have to pay anybody. Basically, is what happened. Athletic writers were like, if MLS just reported tickets and gate correctly, they could do that tomorrow if they really wanted to make to make the math work on that.
Oh yeah,
no problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a sticking point, and the fact that in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of what had been to that point, in the players' view, a give and take, back and forth relationship and discussion about how they're going to get back and play, this came out of nowhere for them. That the league was just like, well, we'll just lock it out. So deal with it. Obviously, that didn't happen because that doesn't help the teams. That doesn't help the owners. And I think there was a pretty swift reprisal from fans, like, do not do this. You do not want to do this. So better, cooler heads prevailed. But I think that, there's some scars there that were not there before that might make the labor union a little bit more militant the next time this comes around. The good thing for MLS is they've got now a while to run before that happens again. And some of these players may have, cooled out a little bit. Who knows what the picture looks like. But
I think they're gambling on the fact that there are going to be players that are head of unions that are not going to be here anymore by the time 2024. I think is it Russell Knaus is DC's union rep. He's already, he has offers out in Germany. He might be gone, so you get a new crop of players in here. I think the turnover might benefit MLS in this regard because you're going to have because of the game of soccer and the world of soccer. You don't get this in the NFL, NBA. LeBron James is when he started in the NBA, you knew he was going to be in the NBA for 15 years. So I think they're gambling on that fact that you're going to have a new crop of people in there by the time the new CBA ratified. They could be wrong though. And there could still be younger players because the union reps are talking about it. This is awful. Look, they tried to do this. They tried to do this. And the people that run the Players Association too, they're still going to be there as well. So
the cool thing was the star players were actually engaged on this fully, and that is atypical for labor fights in MLS history. Usually, the high paid players are like, "Listen, I did okay. my money's good. I'm not gonna fight for the guy making $40,000 a year." So in this particular case, like Nani, trying to think of the other Chicharito was there. They were actually engaged. Wayne Rooney would have definitely been were he still here.
Oh yeah. Wayne Rooney would have talked to the British press. He would have actually garnered the British press. I think there's actually a little bit of a benefit that he's not there, and I'm sure Chicharito is going to do interview to the Spanish language channels, but there isn't a whole lot of major. If Wayne Rooney talked and said, "This is BS. Look what they tried to do to us," that would get a lot more traction than I think it is right now. But in the American press, not to say that the Spanish press wouldn't also gain traction. I'm just saying different audiences for that. But but yeah, so I guess soccer's back. It's going to be weird. This is going to be feel weird. I'm not sure. I mean, we're still kind of. It seems like I was just thinking like June 25th. I'm like, that's 2-3 weeks from now. Like, do they have time to even get all this organized? I mean, I guess they. I mean, I guess it's Disney, so
Yeah, they've been working on logistics for this since the league shut down.
yeah,
So I think that part will be fine. They've been talking about they're going to pipe sound in. They're going to have on-field mics. They're going to try to. It's going to cost them $1 billion. I think Don Garber said, or this whole thing is. I don't know.
I think the loss.
Event,
I think they're saying the $1 billion was lost revenue from ticket sales and everything like that. I think that's what he was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's gonna be hurting from this, but I'm excited. I'm gonna treat this like I'm so starved for the soccer that I care about. I'm gonna treat this like it's not a joke. The show is happy to have soccer to talk about again. We're gonna have to go back and watch the first 2 games because it feels like 7 years ago. I don't remember anything about it. It's basically a new season. The other season, this is something different. I think it's possible they could get in something. I think the way the science is going, as far as there's been, everything that comes out, every article I'm reading, aside from the outbreak numbers in say like Texas, Florida, and Utah, I think are the 3 that are really, going flaring right now. Science is starting to say maybe there's not going to be a second wave. Starting to say asymptomatic people are not spreading as much as they thought they were. Lots of it's so insane when we're gonna have like this ability to Monday morning quarterback this whole thing in a year or 2 years or whatever, and look back at all the decisions that were made, what the costs were, like what, and then we'll have the actual data about this disease and about how it was actually. It's going to be great, and I think we talked about this in our coronavirus episode a couple weeks ago. It's like, it's ripe for judging the decisions made negatively because some of them turned out to be the wrong ones, in the end. And soccer is the least of the worries, like when you put in everything into context. But what we don't know, we talked about like what MLS is going to look like at the end of this, what pro sports are going to look like with no fans in the arenas and in the stadiums for at least until the spring, next spring rather. It's wild. But the good thing is, I think that I think the players are, many of them are okay with this. I think the fact that they've shortened the amount of time they're going to be for sure stuck in Orlando, I think is good. I think that makes it less hard on families. But yeah, this is a wacky thing to have happen, but we're gonna embrace it, and we're gonna do all the things that we would normally do for a regular season. We're all gonna be, none of us are gonna be in the stadium, so we'll all there'll be no excuse for you not to join our YouTube game episodes, because we're all sitting and watching on TVs and computers.
Yeah, we're all going to be watching them live, and I'll be very curious to see what the schedule comes out, who the group is. I think Mark Fishkin, friend of the show, even though he's a Rebels fan, we don't hold that totally against him, posted like the groups, and he had like DC in a group with like Nashville, Montreal, Orlando, and I was like, I'll take that. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's get the expansion team, Montreal, who's coached by Thierry Henry, first time coach. And Orlando, who is the trash fire of Major League Soccer. Let's get all them in one group and call it a day. So soccer's back.
Teams are practicing.
Yes.
They're having sort of from what media reports are saying, basically they're like staging it, like one group goes in, one group goes out. We're not yet at full team practices. USL is also ready to go. USL League Championship is ready to go now. What's the other date on that? Is it July 15th?
I think it's like it's that date, and I think League One is July 18th. So, and I have no clue what that means. I don't know if that means like games in stadiums and I get to go to the games. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea what that even looks like. I think they set that date. I wasn't even expecting to have a game to go to be honest. So I don't know. Who knows?
For a league that's exclusively a ticket revenue league.
Yeah,
because they gave their TV rights away. I mean, I bought a Forward Madison jersey, but aside from that, like there's not, revenue streams are tickets. Hey man, Tell Richmond to get a cool flamingo jersey or something of that, and then I'll go for it.
Okay.
Maybe a kickaroo, maybe like a kangaroo jersey that's in like teal. I don't know, anything. But so Ryan Martin, I talked to Ryan Martin recently. He'll be on the show in the coming weeks to talk about how this is all going to work, how these players. And one thing I didn't think about, I saw on a Black and Red article, all the players that were normally going to be on Loudon, the DC United players, are going to travel to Orlando most likely to make up the traveling roster. So no Moses Nyman for Ryan Martin, no Kevin Paredes for Ryan Martin. All of the players that we were excited to watch 90 minutes in week in, week out. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. So keep that in mind. That is if DC United advances past the group stage into the later stages of the tournament. So we'll see.
Quick question though, is with this game, obviously I'm going to refer to Ben Olsen's job security. Will you say that, is this a tournament where maybe there's still some pressure? Are any coaches under pressure to perform?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think absolutely not. I think as long as, some, our fans will certainly think so.
Yeah.
But fire everyone will certainly be talked about. But like, you talk about a no-win situation for these teams and these players and these coaches. Like, listen, if you can ferry your team through this tournament without getting your players hurt, getting everyone's hamstrings all snapped in half, you did it. Way to go. Good job. This is like the Charleston Cup, basically. This is like the Florida tournament.
You get a Champions League spot. Rumors are you're getting a Champions League spot, so it means something. And who knows if we have a season? So this might be the
right.
only.
Maybe this is all there is, right?
Yeah, maybe this is the only competitive soccer that we get. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how they look. I'll be curious. I was kind of excited for this team, and so it's going to be. I was excited for the Kickers as well. I actually thought they were doing a lot of good things. So I'm still grappling with the idea that we might actually get some soccer. The NWSL is also returning. That's official. They're going to be in Utah. I think a little bit ahead. I think that's going to be in a couple weeks or so. Even though I think we got the matches, it's going to be on CBS.
Yes, CBS All Access.
CBS All Access. So we're going to have to get that subscription.
I'm ready to go. I've been watching Picard, so I'm I'm good. I'm set.
Yeah, but so maybe we're getting kind of a hint. I guess there wasn't the drama. There was some drama, I think, with the U.S. National team players show up for this tournament, and I don't know if that was ever established.
So Megan Rapinoe has opted out of going. So far, she is the only one that I've heard of. So Spirit will have all of their national team players in attendance.
Yeah,
they're all already on their way to Utah or in Utah. So that's a great thing from our perspective. Also, it's a great thing that everyone 8 of the 9 teams will advance to the next round after group play. So that's good. I like our odds. That should work out.
Yeah.
But if you look at the schedule, which I don't have in front of me, it is a quick turnaround. I know at least Spirit have 2 games in 3 days.
Yeah.
At one point.
Well, they play July 4th. They open up against the OL Reign. And then they play this schedule's really weird. I apologize, people. They open up June 30th against the Utah Royals, my fault. And then they play July 4th against the Reign. July 8th against the Portland Thorns. July.
What jerks! What did they give them? Rain and then the Thorns back to back in 3 days,
and the home team in Utah.
So you're gonna prioritize one of those as a law. Now, I think that I was listening to one of the podcasts that I listened to that I don't have in front of me. I want to make sure I give them credit before I move on. But the idea is that these teams are going to have to reuse their whole rosters. Players that would have never, in a normal circumstance, seen the field are absolutely going to see the field. You're going to have your first choice 11, maybe the first game, and then if you get to the knockout, which again 8 of 9 teams will, so count on that. But that is something, particularly that is a murderer's row. They could have only been worse if instead of the Royals they gave them North Carolina. So thank you for that, tournament organizers. But maybe that helps them down the line. They will have seen the best that they have, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird they're not even playing. I guess they're just trying to get this in and get this done, get some games in, get some. and then hopefully then you can start the season. I don't think this is going to be so. MLS is doing it where like these games count, like 5 of the games count towards the season, but NWSL I guess is not doing. They're just doing this Utah Challenge Cup and then having a day. I hope this goes well. I hope, you know, obviously no one gets sick. The effect on women's soccer, I will say, this whole COVID-19 is going to be huge, and not in a good way. Certainly not in a good way for women's soccer. I think I was reading an article that the women's Mexican league has basically most of the teams, if not all the teams, have released all their players. Because you know there are going to be a lot of teams that are going to be cutting their budgets, and it's not right, and there should be some sort of demand to say nope, you can't do that, sorry, you got to cut elsewhere. But that's what we're seeing. So I hope this tournament goes well. I hope that I'm going to subscribe to CBS All Access once the games get going. Definitely going to
and you can watch Picard.
And I can watch Picard. I'm a Star Wars guy. I'm not a Star Trek person. I'm sorry.
I'm looking for a new co-host. If anyone's watching right now, who's a Star Trek guy or girl. The Mixed Zone, by the way, was the podcast that I was listening to, and I recommend you all listen to that as well.
Fair enough. Yeah. So soccer. We have actual soccer that is in the United States to actually talk about soon. Actual games we can actually like analyze players. Will we remember how to is going to be the big question, I think.
I don't think we will.
You don't think we will? You think it will just be like, I don't know. I don't know. By the way, I realized I didn't open the phone line, so you can call in 202-905-0454. Producer Brian sitting there. It's probably my fault. I didn't open the phone lines soon enough.
I'm sure there are 300 people tried to call.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh, this is not fair. A little bit of news and notes. Ben Olsen joined Instagram.
What?
How
did I miss this?
Thing. He did. He joined Instagram. So we talked about how soon he would find Olsen out on his page if he joined it. At least 30 minutes after he created the page, he did not get a hashtag Olsen out. So there was somebody who did comment that I think he actively is deleting comments. Which rules? I fully support that, Ben. If that is what you're doing, it is your page. You can do whatever you want on your page. You can delete comments. You can censor. Go for it. Go crazy.
He said he joined Twitter. I think I remember once he said he joined Twitter, and like he joined Twitter. I'm trying to find his. What's his handle? Please tell me his handle.
I think it's at Ben Olsen 14.
Okay, I need to.
Pretty sure. If you're following the show, you can go to our story right now, and then see that it's at Ben Olsen _14.
Gotcha.
He's also wearing the shirt that I am wearing because I'm very cool. Like I'm like all the players who are very cool. Buy this shirt if it's still available. It's very comfy. It's Bailiwick clothing. Check it out. So we're talking about soccer, but not talking about. Talking about soccer.
Yeah,
that's sort of the position we're at. We're almost there. We don't have player injuries or acquisitions to talk about. We have players that are back from injury. Chris Seitz has gotten to rehab his quad for 3 months, so he should be good to go.
Yeah.
Ola Kamara's hamstring should be ready to go. Looks like he's good.
Yeah, he's good. There's also there was an article I think with Paul Arriola being like maybe his year isn't done. I think it's still very unlikely he plays. He's certainly not playing for this tournament. But I mean, if the season extends, into December, his season might not be over. So apparently, and they're also still working, I think, on contract negotiations for him. Been a little quiet on that front. I hope that gets locked up soon. I would love to have him, for 3-4 more years, and then we can kind of sort of build this team sort of around him with Gressel, Arriola. Man, it feels so good to talk about like players, and it feels good to say those words because we haven't been able to say those words. But to build a team around Arriola, Gressel, obviously Ola Kamara up top. I still think that is a good squad. I'm curious to see what, I guess is transfers still closed, or what's? I don't know if we've even heard.
I don't know. I don't know. They have not. I don't think they've mentioned it. I know that. The international window would still. They're still. I think applying to their regular.
Yeah.
There's conversations about player movements, but I don't think any of it's been formalized yet. But
yeah.
Liverpool is still going to get a chance to win because they're gonna EPL's going back in a week.
I know, it's finally. I can't believe it's going to happen. I was fully prepared. I was fully prepared for the for them to just say, nope, that's it. We're canceling. We're done. That's it. We're not doing this anymore. And that was going to be it. I was fully prepared for that. And then they were just going to be like, Liverpool's not going to get the title, because that's just, everybody was saying, they got it locked up. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I was like, there's no, some act of God is going to prevent this. And then
for everyone else, it would have been kind of hilarious. They would have been like the one darkly humorous element of this whole thing would have been that to happen.
It would have been just as equally. It would have been hilarious for us if New York Red Bulls made the MLS Cup final and then it got canceled.
Right. Right. Exactly. Just like that.
Yeah.
The Chelsea women's team won. They won the league. They didn't restart the league, but they were behind Man City on points, but Man City had a game in hand. So they went by points per game. So Chelsea won, which is gotta be a bummer. I mean, that's the way it goes, I think, from a tiebreaker perspective, but that goes to sort of your conversation too about the women's game. They moved heaven and earth to make sure that this EPL, this men's season, would finish, and the women's season, they're just like, yep, it's done. Congrats, Chelsea, way to go. So that'll be something to watch. And I think that was another thing with the NWSL and the players. I think they were like, no, you don't understand. We have to do this. This league may not exist again if we don't do this. They were able to announce all of their long-term partners, real sponsors like Verizon, still Budweiser, Secret. I think there's some other ones too. Real long-term, real Fortune 500 companies. So that you'll also love to see that. So I think in the coming weeks, I don't think we're going to get any calls, but in the coming weeks, we're going to talk to some folks with the Spirit. We hope to talk to. We're going to talk with Ryan at Loudon, and we're going to talk probably with some players from DC as these players all ramp up for these bizarro, fake mini tournaments that may constitute the entire of the 2020 season. So be on the lookout for that. I think I feel like we're finally coming out of hibernation.
Yeah,
like we had from a show perspective. We're back to work now. So hopefully the shows pick up and everyone's excited with soccer coming down the pike.
Yeah, and maybe I do have a friend that lives in Orlando. Maybe we can get a.
Do you want to go down there and stand outside the
we can get a live we can get press credentials for him. We could see about that. Though he's got a newborn kid too, so I'm not sure how how much time he's gonna have.
Being one of those people with newborn kids, I'm not going anywhere. we just got back from Virginia Beach for I think it was 4 days, and you never realize how much you like being home until you realize the baby just peed on the one swaddle we have, and now it's crisis. Now there's nothing to do. We can't fix this. So yeah, man, traveling with a baby is muy malo. Do not recommend. Do not recommend at all.
But I guess real quick, what give me I'm gonna ask this. What is your prediction for how DC does in this round? How DC and the Spirit do? I'm thinking Spirit make next round, losing the first round of the playoffs is what I have for them. Maybe they surprise me.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think that's probably right. I think they made a few moves, and as we get closer, we'll talk about some of the additions they made. But still, I think the top of the league is still too heavy and too strong. So I think that's right. DC United, how many group games do they play? 4?
I think it's 5. We don't know exactly yet. We don't know anything about Emma. Okay. I'm just spitballing right now. Sure. Maybe when we see the group, they could get paired with LAFC, LA Galaxy, Seattle, and Portland, and then we'll just be like, who knows now? Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be a lot of Eastern West Conference split. I mean, MLS still has not given details about what we're going to see at all. So,
I think that I like our chances as much as anybody else. I think that everyone's in the exact same bad situation. So I think the good point there is that sometimes at the beginning of seasons, it feels like DC United doesn't know each other. It seems like there's like a big disconnect in the team, and now everyone will be exactly like that. There'll be no teams that have a better advantage than the other. So that'll benefit DC. So I think they get out of their group stage. I think they probably make it to the next round. This is a good team. It had some problems in the 2 games that happened so far in this season. Defensively, just not great. But I think that there's some talent there, and I think that we've gotten a chance to get healthy. Mm-hmm. Young players are going to have to play because this is a lot of games in a short time, and the training staff is going to be like, you cannot play Julian Gressel 90 minutes for 5 games in a month and a half. Like, he will die.
And Ben also be like, watch me try. What is the over? What is the over under on his average substitutions? Ben Olsen subs being 3. I'm gonna go ahead and put 3. I think they're gonna give him 5 substitutions because I think it's the FIFA temporary rule. But what's the over under on him actually using 3 subs? I'm gonna say, how about this? 2 subs. 2 subs over under.
I think over. I think he'll use exactly 3. I think he will not take advantage of his 5. I think he will use. But so there's if the rules are as they said they were, where you only get 3 instances of substitutions, so that you'd have to do double substitutions a couple times.
Okay,
that changes it a little bit. But I mean, there are some positions still on this team where we're not deep. I mean, we're still thin at the top. We're still thin in certain positions. So that'll be something very funny to watch. If anything else happens, it'll be that will be amusing to us.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna open the trade window or if DC's gonna be able to acquire some players. Who knows? If the financial impacts of players. Who knows? They might even bring in. God, who was the player that they were? Was it? Why can't I think of his name right now? There was some big time player we were linked with again. It was Gonzalo Higuain.
Oh
yeah, we were linked with Gonzalo. We might sign Gonzalo Higuain, even though he said he had no idea about it.
He's got a contract though, so I feel like he'll be like, I'm not going anywhere. You're gonna pay me my $10 million a year. I don't care if it bankrupts you. If I've got a contract, you're gonna honor it.
Yeah,
I think that I think you're gonna see some trialists or some free agents be picked up for real cheap.
Yeah,
I think from the standpoint of if other people are unemployed, so is Quincy Amarikwa. So are other they're doing this. They're trying to do the $900 a week check too, just like everybody else. So you might be able to get some bargains.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I'm not. I don't know. When we get the schedule out, we actually have games we can talk about. We have things we can preview. We have we can go back and watch the 2 games that took place for the teams that we're going to talk about, knowing full well that none of it could matter anyway. We're going to actually have some real stuff to BS on, like we always do on this show. I think that about covers it. I don't think there's anything else. Anything else we want to get to? Did you have anything else you wanted to drop in?
No, just that I'm excited. We were talking at the start, just sort of how hard it is to focus on soccer, but I think it's a bit of a welcome respite, even if it's just some of the time. Yeah. Even if we're not going to switch all the way off, but having an opportunity to get your head in that space for a few minutes a day, so I can stop pretending to care about KBO, so I can stop pretending to really like Bundesliga. Give me the thing that I really care about, even if it's a weird, stupid version of it. I am more happy that MLS is coming back in this weird fashion than baseball trying to Frankenstein itself into a 50-game season with the DH and all that stuff. This is now MLS has given me something to really, really hone in on and watch all of.
Yeah.
I've got some time right now in my hands.
And distraction as well. Distraction's a big part of it. But anyway, I guess with that, we'll wrap up. Patreon.com/RFKRefugees if you want to donate to the show. We're going to start being more. I think we might go back now that games are coming back. We might go back to every week, so we might actually move forward.
Oh, we are. It's happening.
Yeah,
it's happening, Ted.
Yes, every week we're going to do that.
We have figured out where the baby. We have figured out how to handle the baby for at least an hour and a half a week. So my wife is
good.
I think I'm now on duty for 13 consecutive hours. But
okay,
it's worth it.
You guys did a trade. You guys did a trade. You guys negotiated that, right? That was part of the
I'm
negotiation.
very bad at negotiation. That's why I'm on duty now.
She did a force majeure clause on you for that.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening. Twitter.com/RPRefugees. Tell your friends about us. We'll be back next week. Vamos.
Vamos.
Miles to the outbound road. Never look back, never ever went slow.
Never look back, heard him say that before.
Never look back, never stare at a goat.